Good afternoon. Welcome to 2025. I'm going to do my best to get on with it today. So, let's unpack the pillow. There it is. And my pins, because I sorted out lots of things in advance, but the pins were not one of them. So, there we go. For some reason I've got a bit of a cough now. Right. So, now we need to hide some of these bobbins. So let's add 2 to this. And 2 to the front of this. And of course Rory wants to come up through the non-existent hole. Rory! Do not lick the mains point. Okay? Licking main sockets. Come on, out of there. Up. Come on, up you come. Useless mutt. Come on. There you go. Crap, I forgot to do something. Let's try that again. So. And you are trapping the thread, so we don't want that. And that's the other one there, of course. So. I forgot to put a pin in once I'd done the shenanigans. Actually, let's undo some of that. Let's do this differently. I saw something earlier and I have made a decision. So, gonna save that for later. Yeah, if you save things. But, I'm then going to... Right. So, now we need... poke these in. Actually, we don't. We only need one of them. But we're going to cheat. We're going to use two. As I'm making this up as I go along. So, we want pair 1. Pair 2. And... welcome Nautical. Indeed, Happy New Year and all of those kind of things. You'd have been so pleased with me. When we finished off the last square, I changed how I did it. And let me pause the thing speaking in my ear because it's going to get annoying. I changed how I did it. You may recall that closing squares is not one of my most favourite hobbies, and it takes a long time, and I find it quite stressful, and frankly I suck at it, and a billion and one other things, and as you may recall, it devolves me into hysteria, and basically it's a really bad thing all round. Well, turns out, if you cut the bobbins off, so much easier. Now, every lace book and video and everything insist that you do it with the bobbins still attached and cut them off once you've finished. But here's the thing. When you're poking your magic stick with a bit of string on it, hang on, this one, through the hole with the piece of string on the end of it, to pull through the loop so that you can pass the other bobbin through the loop. Well, as you may recall, I was really good at knotting them. Secondly, well, it dawned on me, quite substantial bulk is made by having a loop with the other thread pass through it, so forming kind of a hitch, but not quite, round the existing thread, and then tying 2 knots on it. So, I said bollocks to it, and I chopped off the thread that's normally a loop, so that you poke the thing through, pass the bobbin through, and just pull. And out... Oh, of course it's ad time. Bloody hands. So hopefully you're back now. Yeah, so by not having to pull the loop through, so you don't need to fit 2 bits of thread through the little hole, and then you tie the knot through with the thread that's through the hole and the thread that from the pair that wasn't through the hole. Well, you still form a loop to the existing hole, but it's flatter. It also doesn't fight as much because tying knots with bobbins on the end of it is not as easy as it sounds. And, you know, because you've got 4 inches of wooden stick getting in the way, and, you know, the heads like to trap between the other threads and, you know, generally get on your nerves. So from that point of view, it went surprisingly fast and surprisingly well. I still glued it, of course, because I'm paranoid. But it did seem to be doing a hell of a lot better, to the point, you know, not that I'm going to do it for my net curtain, because at some point I'll need to wash it and I'll just cry if it fell apart. But for other projects, I might even be convinced enough that the glue might hold. That the knot might actually hold without needing glue. So I may have been a bit of a knot convert, you know. Well, it's easier to do the knot when you're not fighting against bobbins, that's for sure. So yes, I was feeling very pleased with myself. And we have changed to fat pins so that we don't spend the entire day throwing pins away. Because, well, that's a thing. So yes, it has been that's okay. Dogs are good at that. That's why my doors are on a piece of elastic and have a rope bungee between the handles, so the door can't entirely close, so my dogs can let themselves go in and out as they like. Otherwise, all you'd hear all this stream is, oof, I want to go in, oof, want to go out, oof, want to come in. No. 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 That's sad. Poor puppers. Sadly, it does come to them all. And always far too fast. Because by the time they've stopped being through the little shit phase, which I will say for these two took a lot longer than I ever recall any of my previous dogs taking. I.e., we're mostly out of it now. Buggers are 4 odd years old. But now they're kind of mostly out of the little shit stage. It does seem that far too many of them, the years then of not being a little annoying shits, fly by, and the next thing you know is, you know, you're having to do the last walk, and it's not good. I mean, it's a healthy age, but at the same time, it still flies by, doesn't it? It still flies by. I mean, most of my dogs have been about 6.5, 16.5 when they went. Some slightly older. Brown, we don't know for sure, but there's a thought that Brown was nearly 20. She could even have been slightly more. But then there's a reason why she made it to that old. She never did anything. You can't wear out a dog, and bits don't get worn out if you never do anything. You know, she'd kind of come on a walk and all but stand in the middle and watch you walk around, right? You know, if you went to the dog park and she could just stand in the middle and watch you walk about, she would. She was really, you know, the only time she got animated was when there was a little male dog that she might be able to, you know, be a bit of a tart about, because despite being fixed, she was a serious tart. But She really was the laziest dog. I mean, Rory's pretty lazy, right? I mean, no offence. Well, this is it, right? And this is kind of where I find myself to a large extent, is no wonder you've gone funny, your nuts come off. But, my dad's dogs never lived very long. I've got another friend who also feeds her dogs 3 times a day. And they don't live very long. Now, they don't feed them a lot, but they feed them 3 times a day. I feed my dogs once a day, which has always been the tradition. I mean, they might occasionally get an extra bit, but it's, not very often. It's not the done thing for them to have breakfast unless they need to have something to eat with medication or the such, right? So I am not they don't eat more meals than I do, that's for sure. So as you say, I won't say it's because it's not like I don't walk them or anything, but I don't drag them for 10-mile hikes every day. I don't, because I'm too lazy for that shit. But we go, and the moment they start getting bored or showing signs to want to go home, we go home. If they don't want to go because it's too weathery, I don't make them. I don't make them go out in like sideways hail just because, you need your constitutional. No, a wise man once said, mainly about hot days, but no dog ever died from missing a walk. Dogs die from walking on hot days. And it's true with cold days and miserable weather as well, is that no dog died from skipping a walk. I mean, if you always skip walks, that's a slightly different matter. But if you, regularly walk your dog and then due to foul weather, maybe they even have a week off, won't kill them. Really won't. It's, you do have to kind of be reasonable. And some of it is if it's hailing sideways, you don't want to be out there. And you can bet your ass they don't really want to be out there. They're excited to be out doing something with you, but they're not necessarily excited for the walk. And some dogs don't care, in which case, out you go. But it is their walk, not our walk, and it is for them to enjoy. And Brown's idea of going for a walk round, say, roads, it would take you an hour to get down any road in the entire world. Because she sniffed everything. Brown sniffed. Brown also was a tweeter. We used to joke that she tweeted because she dropped like 3 drops of pee on literally every blade of grass. Tweet, tweet, tweet. She never actually went for a pee. She just tweeted. Because she knew she needed to post her messages for all the little boys, alright? Because she proper was rating tart. The only time Brown did not come when she was called was because she found this really interesting golden retriever. And I had to frog march her back to the car. Because she looked at me and kind of gave me the finger, ran off in the other direction following this dog. And I stormed off after her and it. Caught up with it and she's going, me, or, kind of shoving her butt in his face. Me. And it was like, madam, you are too old for this. Because, we got her. I found her in... Must have been 2001. Right? Because it was the May Bank holiday. No, it can't have been. It must have been 2000. We found her in 2000. The reason I can work that out is Charlie had just had his balls knocked off. And he had that done at 6 months. So it was May, right? He'd literally been in. He was still kind of almost still had the stitches, right? And I came across Brown. Brown had been in season and had escaped, actually she hadn't escaped, she'd been tied up with cassette tape and abandoned. And it was quite surprising she was not pregnant, because obviously she had been left out and she had not been spayed. And long story short, we gave her up to the dog's shelter so that they could try and find her parents. No parents were found. We had her back. And when we got her, they thought she was 3 or 4 years old. She lived longer than Charlie did. And Charlie was getting close to 17 when he died. So she was definitely in the kind of 20 range. But as I say, the reason she lived that long is she never moved. If she was here right now, she would be lying on something asleep. If I moved to another room, she would move the minimal amount of distance so that she could immediately lie down and keep an eye on me. She was not the in-your-face, hug me, hug me, hug me. She did like a good hug, but it was very rare that she ever moved enough to get one. You always had to go to her because, well, she'd be asleep. She was like having a little furry statue in that, or in fact, it was more like a stuffed toy with batteries, because it was very rare that it did anything, and you almost had to go and poke it to make it do something. You could easily forget you had Brown. Having Brown as a dog was like not having an extra dog. I mean, at food time, the only other time Brown was animated, bless Brown, curries. Brown had a real thing for curries. She'd take your arm off at the shoulder if you were offering her a bit of curry. There was none of this, maybe you'd lose a finger stuff. No. She was going to swallow the curry, your arm, and preferably you with it, because you might taste of curry. And the stronger it was, the happier she was. I have never known a dog like it. So Brown was really into Vindaloo. No, we didn't deliberately necessarily give her Vindaloo, but we would eventually end up saving her a little bit because she'd be a pain in the ass because you had curry. But yeah, so when I had 4 dogs, one of them was Brown, so it was like only having 3. One of them was Lucy, and so it was like having 2. So I only really had 2 dogs and 2 statues, so it was kind of very doable. And you need dogs like that when you're going to overcommit your dog capacity, which was not intentional, but we got Maddie when there were 2 of us. So when my ex-husband left, there was now 1 of me, and so I felt slightly over dog quota, because I have a strong belief in 1 dog per hand is a good maximum as a general rule, just because should you need to control your dog because I know something's happened, it's hard to grab more than 2 dogs successfully at a time. I mean, it is doable, but it depends very much on the dog. So as an average, 1 dog per hand is a good guideline. But Lucy was the most antisocial dog I've ever met in my life. I mean, Brown wasn't social, but she was at least present in the room. Lucy would be in the garden come hail, sleet and shine because, she didn't like anybody. She didn't like anything, frankly. Maybe a bit of cheese. She liked cheese. But that was about it, That dog was a very weird dog. She'd been the runt of a litter, and I think some of it was just that she was always... But her parents, she got adopted fairly early on, and her parents doted on her left, right and centre. But I think once her parents went, she just wasn't overly interested anymore. So I'm trying to find... I thought it was that one. Apparently not. Well, it's funny how it's none of you. Where do you go? Oh, whatever. So yes, poor old Brown. She did have a proper name. She was called Kira, but she answered best to Brown, so Brown she was. And in fact, Brown is what's written on her casket, so because that's what she answered to. If you wanted that dog to come, you called her Brown. I miss all my pups. I really do. I do wish Charlie could have seen this house. I also wish Charlie could have seen me once I had my teeth fixed. Just before Charlie died, my teeth, my front teeth fell out, and I had to have it fixed. And he never got to see me with my teeth fixed, which was quite sad, really. I'd have liked it if he could have seen them fixed. But never mind. So how have you been, Nautical? How are your friends? Or not so much friends? Have you had much success with sorting that out? I found that plague video quite interesting. On a whole waft of levels. Yes. Well, yeah. What you really need is Happy New Year eviction notice, really, isn't it? But it's never that simple. My friend, my co-worker who shares your little friend problem, had a crappy Christmas. His mother and my mother are like sisters from another mother. They share many common traits. And, I mean, much as mine is not, his mother and his mother he's got a sister. And basically, she could curl one up on the Christmas dinner, and her mother would excuse it as something, and it would be, oh, well, she's having a tough time. You know, golden child can do no wrong. To the point that, well, if they're stuck in it, they're stuck in it, whatever. You know, it's not like you're looking for your long-lost pet here, you know. It is, you know, oh, well, they're in it. Maybe the others will take the hint. But yeah, my co-worker had a rough Christmas. His sister, no one said Happy Christmas to his part of the family. And his sister messaged the WhatsApp group for the family pointing out that her husband's brother was coming over, and so now they'll have seen the whole family, not including my co-worker and his part of the family. Christmas is made. And Mother kind of went, oh yes. So he was feeling a tad upset. I threatened to adopt him. Because, well, he is younger than me. And there's no upper age limit on adoption. I did look, just in case. I'm quite thorough in my idle threats, you know. Yep, I could do that. That's legal. No, I had one set of friends did drop a card and my Christmas present over, which was a calendar and a don't knock because they'll be barking and I'll start yelling kind of placard thing. That's it. It's kind of all I've had, and I'm not overly bothered. Really not. That reminds me, I meant to do something today and I forgot. Bollocks. I meant to sawn my car. Because technically the road tax ran out yesterday. Oh, whatever. It's not like I'm driving it, so... Well, it can't move, so... I've got to do something with it. I do kind of want to fix it, because having a car for, you know, emergency vet trips is kind of essential. But that's the only real reason I need it. I don't really need it for any other reason. So, it seems kind of, you know... Someone give me strength. I don't care if it's God or Satan. Someone give me strength so that this year, 2025, I do not kebab the small brown dog for constantly trampling the grass and annoying and fucking about with my cushion. I can't explain why it bugs me so much, but it's like any small repetitive behaviour. In that the first few times, oh, that's cute, oh, that's quaint, whatever, right? Next few times, whatever. After a while, do that one more time, and you will never move again. It's kind of got to that stage. I definitely would kebab the dog if she doesn't quit it. Because she does it in the bed as well. I will point out she does it in bed as well. But for some reason, she doesn't do it as much to the bed. And at least with the bed, I understand, because there's, you know, duvet and other dog and, you know, stuff to make sure you're comfortable. But my couch doesn't change shape in any shape or form. So can you just not? And as I say, she's got a real thing about... No, they're both trapped by dogs at the moment. I made some cushions, and normally this couch has 2 cushions on it. One I bought from Waitrose like 600 million years ago. There are other cushions around the room, but they're under, well, I think both of them are under a pile of shit. So, but the big one is on the couch, because there was a big one and 2 smaller ones. So there's that, and then there's one of the ones that I made. Now, currently, there are 2 of the ones that I made on the couch, because Rory's got one. Because he quite likes it so that he can snug into the corner. But the other one is looking very second-hand these days, because they keep managing to catch threads on it, even though there weren't really any threads to catch that you thought of. And it needs a wash. Desperately needs a wash looking at this corner, because the lighter and the dark threads have kind of blended into one colour at the corner. So I assume that dog grime and natural dog oily fur has got to that corner. It must be her favourite corner. But it is looking very second hand, I shall have to make other cushion covers, which isn't beyond the wit of man. And speaking of which, as we know, Liz does many stupid hobbies, and weaving is one of them. Well, a company called Luette, who make looms primarily, and a few other crafting related things, have just announced, basically, it sounds like they've bought out what used to be who bought out Ven, because they've certainly done something. Anyway, they've done a big deal, or they bought them out, or whatever it is, to the point that anyone who is a Luette supplier can now be a Ven supplier. And I'm mightily offended. What a shame. A particular company who seem to be pretty much the primary Ven suppliers in the UK. They're also Luette dealers, and they also do many other things at a price. And I posted, because Luette had posted it, and I'm the admin for 2 Luette Facebook groups, I forwarded the post. This bloke got so upset. Because I posted, it should be great for everyone, because bear in mind, it is a worldwide group, and he is purely a UK supplier. So it's like, this should help, it should help people. I don't see how it's going to help, because, you can't, if you buy direct, there'll be this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, that's not what we said. They've pointed out that anyone who has, is a Luette reseller, for which there are quite a lot, can now, basically, by default, become resellers of this. So therefore, there is potentially far more competition for the sale of it. So this has got to be good for weavers, right? And he basically threw a fit because he didn't see how it was beneficial. And when I said, well, it should make it easier to get, and I pointed out that I didn't realise that they made some of the so I want to call them series, the model, I'm dyslexic and words are my nightmare, ranges, that's the one. Some of the ranges of the products that Ven make were available, because I'd never heard of them, because, well, frankly, he doesn't stock them. And mainly, he was pretty much the only Ven supplier. He wasn't the only one, but most of them didn't seem to have half the colours, so it was always complicated. Anyway, he basically wanted to... He got really huffy, and it was like, well, I need to know what it is that, you feel is missing. And it's like, first of all, stop taking it so personally. You chose to make this personal. I never mentioned that, it's not like I came along and said, this company now won't have you over a barrel. I just pointed out that here is a forwarded post from Luette, and this group is about Luette, and they have added this to their ranges. Hallelujah. You've chosen to out yourself as kind of, feeling sensitive on the subject. Sorry, you're going to have to live with it at an angle, because I'm at an angle. And he got really quite huffy about it. And I do understand that, he wants to know how to make his business better. But I can also tell you, no, he doesn't. Because his website's pants, and I've offered him to help him with it. And it's like, no, I do it all, and it's complicated. And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be. If you have a database back end, love, it's a piece of cake. But, fine, whatever, you do you. I can fix that for you, but... You do you. And it made me laugh, because he's obviously, he's kind of showed severe paranoia over it. And dealing with a company, you kind of get that flavour off them anyway, because they always act like they're the only ones that can help you, and they're not. I also know was instrumental in getting them some more direct competition. So maybe you should be paranoid, but not in this particular situation. It was too late for that. That was a couple of years ago. So, yeah. And I know that the other company has done quite well as a result. So, nope. Sorry. Not feeling guilty on that one. Mainly because the other company is run by people who actually do weaving, whereas this particular company doesn't seem to. They don't seem to be made out of crafting people. They seem to be made out of people purely there to make a business, and that's fine. You know, that can happen to the best of businesses. I mean, you see it with stuff all over, especially things like hospitals. They get run by business people, not by doctors, because they need to make the money. And basically, being a doctor is not entirely a profit, although it's, their salaries aren't exactly, lacking. Missed. Somehow I wonder how I missed such a big hole. So yeah, I've ordered some more bobbins. I was doing that before. Also ordered some other bobbins to try. If I really like these, they have the potential. So let me explain. We all remember what the Midlands bobbin looks like. Hang on, let me grab my Midlands bobbin. Midlands bobbins look like this. While this is a plastic one, it will do. These the ones that I'm getting look remarkably like this, but they're slightly bigger by about this much and slightly wider, but not by a lot. But they're described as heavy, whereas this is, wafting in the wind. But they don't have spangles, which of course I don't actually have a problem with these bobbins. I mean, if I ripped all the spangles out, they probably wouldn't be too bad. But they are designed to have spangles. And all the ones that I have do have spangles, pretty much, unless the spangle broke. Because historically spangles are on metal. But they are slightly wider, but they're described as heavy. And I quite like the idea of that. So I've ordered some to try. And if I like them, I intend to order quite a lot of them. Because when it comes to bigger things, as we all know, the piles of bobbins and the space taken up by the bobbins becomes a lot more important. And the fatness of the bobbin matters. Because, well, it just does. So I'm going to say these are probably 1.2 centimetre wide. I've got a proper gauge thing to measure it, but I'm going to guess that these are about 1.2 centimetres wide. The bobbins I've ordered are 0.8 of a centimetre, so they're 8 millimetres. But they're very similar to, as I say, they're like the Midlands bobbin. They're just kind of beefier, big brothers. But the wood that these particular ones are made from is quite a heavy wood. So therefore, well, that sounds great. So all up for a bit of that. So hopefully they will happen. They didn't have the 10 centimetre ones, which would have made them the same length as the Midland bombers. They only had 13 and 15 centimetre ones. And 15 centimetres, 6 inches is far too long. Don't need anything that long for bobbins. I mean, it's great for pinning them down, I guess, because you've got quite a lot of width to play with, but you don't need really long bobbins for anything. I don't see why you'd need 15cm bobbins. For 4 inches is about right. So there were other woods in the style of bobbin that I like, so I can always mix and match with slightly cheaper ones. What I really would have liked is for them to be made of ebony, because I really like ebony wood, but I don't think I could have afforded that. I'm going to guess that that would probably have, 150 of those probably rocks up as about 300 quid. So let's not. Whereas 150, so 75 pairs of these bobbins that I'm going to try were about 80 quid. So they're like 50 something p each. That's in the affordable range for bobbins, in my mind. Anything less than £1 a bobbin is, well, anything less than £1.50 a bobbin, I feel is in the more affordable range. Now, obviously, the nearer the 150 mark, the nicer it would need to be. But for example, I seem to recall when I bought, well, what are the pale ones of these? They really were quite cheap. I think I bought 200 for, or was it 100? I'd have to look it up. Might have been 200. Got a feeling it was kind of less than €100, so they were cheap. It's kind of, I've got a feeling the 100, I think it was something like €35 for 50 or something along those lines. And I just can't remember how many of them I bought, but it was definitely in the more attainable amount of money kind of thing. So, right, let's work this out. I'm going to need you in the long run, and stop undoing. There are times I really hate half-hitch knots, and it's when they undo for no apparent reason. Now, of course, it's not entirely an unknown reason, because what happens is they go baggy, and then when they pull, they come undone, which is why, for example, these went baggy and have become longer by default. Just because they can, because they do just need that little bit of tension on them to keep them happy, or they do stupid things like get longer, like this one. Stop mating around other ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, assholes. Stick, 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 stick. There we go. you over there for a minute. Right. I remember from before, I need one of you, not all of you. You get back in the hole. 'Cause you... 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. Fair enough. Speak to you in a bit. Sounds like you're doing some dodgy backstreet deal, but that's, you know, that's cool. I can understand that. Okay, so those definitely are in there. That's okay. Fair enough. Dogs are psychic, you should know that. They know when you're about to wake up because they come and stare right at your face. Have fun. tragedy. You'll just have to put up with me as company. Well, my dear friend, as if I had a working car, I would come to see your tree. Christmas is often one of the most miserable times of the year. For reasons like this, is that it's not that you don't have friends, it's not that you don't necessarily have family. It's just that everyone's too busy doing their Christmas, and somehow you get forgotten. And I kind of fall into that category most years. I have accepted this, and the autistic brain cells that I have understand that that is why it is, and are slightly more okay with it than a lot of people are. I'm not going to say I like it. For fuck's sake, dog, just get up. Come on. In your own sweet time. It is just difficult, so I would if I could, mate. I would. How did you do this? How did you twiddle? My bobbins have twiddled round the stick. I don't even know how they did that. I relate to that as someone who didn't bother putting up any Christmas decorations. As you say, it hurts more when you tried. If you didn't try and no one came, it's fine. That's what you're expecting. When there was chance, when someone said, "Oh, I'll come round," so if it helps, I had a friend who, beginning of December, gave me a call and was like, "I'm really, really busy. Sorry, I've been out of touch a bit. Fine. But I'm off work from, I think it was the 16th. We'll get together before Christmas. We'll do something." Haven't heard a bean. Now, my life is exceptionally flexible. If someone turned around and said, "Hey, do you want to come around tonight?" I could go around tonight. I mean, they'd have to drive me, but, I could go around tonight. I've got nothing, I can move what I was going to do. I can skip doing the things that I was going to do. I can leave my machine uploading the stream, and I can go out pretty much at the drop of a hat. None of my friends have that as an option. They've all, well, this particular person does, but she doesn't see it that way. So, they all feel that they are overcommitted, that, they haven't got time for this, they haven't got time for that. So for all my friendships, I have always let them find the time that suits them. And they know that. And it's not that I don't want to see them, it's just that they know, I know they're busy, so, if you've got time and you want to talk to me, or you want to see me, or, you're feeling that, we haven't seen each other, give us a shout and I'll come. So this person chooses, it does make them feel, I guess, a little bit like it requires them to be in control and it's always them doing the work. But it's not them doing the work usually, because I'm the one that usually goes round to them, so it's usually me driving, me going. All they have to do is kind of, be in when I get there, right? But to an extent, this person does this to me quite a bit. Well, I won't say specifically this, but, this person has history for, I'll call them empty promises. And it does hurt sometimes. But it is the way it is, and I will assume that they've been busy doing something that is important to them. It might not have been something I would necessarily personally prioritise. And, if I thought about it too much, I'd be hurt to realise that, rather than making time for one of their friends, bear in mind, most of my friends don't exactly have, reams of friends. So, if doing X was far more important to you, that's fine. But do understand that we, your friends, feel slightly put out by that. And I'm the same, but I hardly ever turn my friends down, right? If they ask me to come round, it's very, very rare that I will say, "I'm sorry, I can't." I will turn up when the ask is asked. I will generally make the best to be there. Now, obviously, not having a car right now does scupper some of that. And so recently I did have to say, well, I could, but I can't get there, and it's a bit of a journey between them and me, and I certainly wouldn't expect them to drive all the way over here to pick me up to drive me all the way back. It is quite a long drive. They have done it. My car broke down once. I think it was when it needed a battery in the first place. Can't remember what was wrong with it. Anyway, something was wrong with it. It needed, or it was still at the garage or something. Anyway, they cut. Oh, no, that's right. I went to get in it and it didn't work for some reason. I assume it was the battery. Anyway, they then drove to see me and it turned out to be really, really foggy. And it turns out she's really crap driving in the fog. And so, on that particular situation, that nice friend, her husband drove me home and it took about 2 hours less than it had done because it's really not that far. But, for most of my friends, they're not necessarily local, so I wouldn't expect them to come and get me. I would go to them, and right now, that's a bit more awkward. But should the need arise, if some of my further away friends really, really needed, something had gone wrong and needed my help, I would go taxi if necessary, right? It's just a case of I'd rather not taxi because it's friggin' expensive. Fuck it, I'd hire a car if I could hire a car at that short notice. It depends what they wanted. But, you know, sadly, not all of our friends are made the same as us. And it is, as you say, it's definitely harder when you've put some effort in. When maybe you've bought, you know, so for example, I don't drink coffee. I try and keep coffee in the house because it seems far too many people like the stuff. I absolutely hate it. I actually don't like the smell. I can't stand it. I have been known to drink it on a couple of occasions, but that's usually when it's 99% milk and sugar and bugger all coffee. And I've got a minging headache, but other than that, really not interested. So yeah, it is difficult when you've made an effort, you've got things in, or you've put up decorations, or you bought stuff in preparation for them coming round and they forget. Because, well, you made an effort and they didn't. And it does hurt. It does hurt a lot. So I very much understand. And the level of hurt varies. It depends on, you know. It's not that you're expecting miracles here, you know. You know, it's not like my father's going to resurrect out of his box and come and sit in here and have dinner. Because, well, that actually would be quite freaky, considering he's been dead about 6 years now. So, but it is that kind of principle. It's the, you know, if you bought in stuff because they said they were coming around for Christmas dinner, or, you know, you said you'd cook them Christmas dinner and arranged for them to come round, I know, Boxing Day, so you're going to cook it then, and they don't show. Friend of mine, I know, you know, I'm sure she won't mind me telling the story. It was her birthday, and she'd arranged for her parents and I think it was mainly her parents, because she's a single child, so I think it was just her parents. But I had a feeling that, for some reason, I had a feeling there was a friend involved, but I don't think there was. She arranged to go somewhere interesting with her parents for a meal. So she sorted lots of things out. Someone to sit for the dog, someone to do this, someone to do that. She got in the, you know, she got in the car and pretty much got to the venue after driving for an hour or so. And her parents weren't there. They were late. And so she called them. Oh yeah, we decided not to come. That was how they told her they were cancelling or her birthday meal. They didn't, and when she called, yeah, we decided not to come. That hurt her a lot, and things like that do, because especially, you know, like me, I'm a bit of a hermit. If I've made an effort to go somewhere, be somewhere, said I'd do something, and someone doesn't hold up their end of that, I do feel hurt, because, well, I went out of my comfort zone, I did things, I bought things, I did that, this, that, and the other, and you lied. And that hurts. And, yeah. Well, you can always send me a picture of your Christmas tree, and I can pretend that I'm there and enjoy it with you. For I did not do Christmas tree because my dogs would just destroy it. I've got nowhere I can put a Christmas tree that is out of the reach of dog. Other than someone else's house, so I was thinking I could maybe next year make some lace decorations to put up in the windows and pretend that I'm a little bit festive. Yeah, let's not. I cook Christmas dinner. What more do people want? Well, you can always take one with your phone and send me it, so, you know. But yeah, I know what it's like, and one of the things that I've always said about living alone is great. If you want to eat cake for breakfast and cornflakes for tea and Yeah, or cold curry for breakfast, or you want to get out of bed at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and go to bed at 6 in the morning. It's great. Fair enough. But when you live alone, it is great because there's no one sitting there going, "Are you only going to eat chocolate today?" Yeah, and yeah, you don't have any of those. Are you not going to do the washing up now? No, you don't have any of this shit. And so living alone is really quite liberating. The thing that I truly miss sharing a house with someone else, whether they are a relational kind, a housemate kind, or you're married to it kind. If you want a drink, you have to get the drink. If you are hungry, you have to go and get it. You have to cook it, and then you have to eat it, and then you have to clean up after it. At 0 points are you going to find a drink that you didn't have to go and get. At 0 points is someone going to say to you, "Do you fancy not cooking tonight? I'll pay for takeout." Or, "Do you want a cup of tea? I'll go and make you one." Especially true. Now, for 99% of the time, it doesn't really matter. I wander off into the kitchen, get a drink, come back. Don't think twice about it. It's when you're ill. When it's a struggle. So, when I had my surgery and gained myself my 15-inch stomach zipper, that was hard. Doing all of, trying to do the dog stuff because I wasn't allowed to bend. Try feeding dogs when you can't bend. Well, I didn't bend. I crouched. That's not bending. It's no worse than sitting. I bent. Of course I bent. But I wasn't supposed to bend. I wasn't supposed to lift anything. I wasn't supposed... the list of things that I wasn't supposed to do were huge. And it's like, but I live alone. "Oh, well, someone's going to be with you for a bit." Well, of course they are. Yeah, in another town. They'll come if I call, but they're not going to stay here. The usual. Night after surgery, you do need someone to be with you. Yeah. Someone's staying, it's fine. Lying your ass off, I've lied my ass off so many times, it's untrue. But you find yourself in a situation, and it is usually when you're sick or when you're unwell that it really hits home the most. The fact that on this occasion, in your hour of need, you are alone. And when I got my perforated bowel, it really, really hit me because I phoned 2 friends who have called me at stupid hours and unreasonable hours with emergency phone calls, and I have always attended. Both of them didn't answer the phone. And that really hurt me. It really, really did, because I thought, I'm sitting there in agony and I'm thinking of the times that, I got a phone call because one of them had done something stupid, and I got out of bed and I opened up my house for them and sat there listening to them having done something stupid. And, we sat there and talked for a couple of hours while they calmed down. I did that all the time that, couldn't get out of bed because the back hurt, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they called me rather than an ambulance. So I went round and kind of said, "Well, have you tried taking your painkillers?" And they kind of went, "No." if you thought that might be an answer. And then the ambulance arrived because we called the ambulance. But, for all the times that I've been there for my friends, and then when I needed them the most, neither of them came. Now, there are other friends I could have called, but they're an hour away, and I would never expect them to come and do that, so I'd never ring them. But I also know that the 2 furthest friends, for they live quite near to each other, interestingly enough, although they don't know each other, if I called them, even though it's an hour plus drive, they'd have come. But I also don't expect that of them because they've got family, they've got children, they've got lives to lead and things to do. They do not need to be running around after their fat, ugly friend, right? But my 2 friends were single. My 2 friends who... Hey, Sugar Bear, how are you? How are you? I appreciate that. Thank you. Doubled my viewers. So yes, thank you, Sugar Bear. Well, it's 2025 and it feels remarkably like it did when it was 2024. I do believe, in theory, I had a pay rise. In practice, I'm not so sure. And as I didn't get paid by default in December and had to chase it, yeah, I have no idea. So yeah, no, I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm determined to do a reasonable amount of lace making today. I have not made any New Year's resolutions because I don't do that kind of shit. Mainly because, well, pretty much by the end of today, I'll have broken at least 5 of them. So what's the point? That all that'll do is make me feel guilty for something I knew that was a pipe dream when I said it. I mean, I have some things I'd like to do this year. Some things that, I'd like to try and investigate and complete and do something about. But I'm not going to promise I'm going to do it because, well, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, what if I fell and broke my arm tomorrow? What if you can't guarantee what's going to happen. And so, you can't, making promises to yourself that are really big ones and that are a bit too pipe dreamy. It's the getting fit in the new year shit. You have best intentions, don't we all? I'd like to get fit as long as I don't actually have to do the exercise to do it. This was something that came up the other day. Is an awful lot of people, and I am not one of them, get endorphin rushes from doing exercise. I don't. I feel like shit the whole time I'm doing, and I feel pretty dead when I'm done, and I don't feel better for having done it. So, I don't enjoy doing it. I do exercise as a requirement. I do various things. But I do, I could never be one of these people who hang out down the gym for 4 hours. I can't think of anything worse. Well, actually, I can't think of anything worse. Going shopping for 4 hours is worse. I am one of the few women on this God-given planet who loathes shopping. Now, clicking from Amazon doesn't really count. I'm talking the going to a shop or going to the shopping centre and mooching. Or even, I need to buy a suit. Let's go to the local shopping mall and buy a suit. Even if you know which company you're going to buy it from. The fact that you've got to try on at least one, no, instantly, I am not interested. I don't want to be there. I hate shopping, especially in winter. Because in winter, you're dressed like it's brass monkeys out there. You've got 16 layers of thermals, 3 jackets, 2 hats and everything on. And you go into a shop and it's like 900 degrees in there. It's bikini weather. You're sweating like a horse. Everyone's being an asshole and dithering and blithering in your way. And I have never punched anyone, but God have I wanted to. And like most of them, frankly, pretty much from the age of remembering, which was quite an early age, actually. I do have memories from when I was 3, so we're talking the best part of 50 years of finding that I find myself in a shop around the kind of winter months and wanting to just punch everybody, or preferably just early demise would be nice. It's just, I can't stand shopping. I've never understood how, and I'll blame TV for this, but all the American girls on TV kind of spend like the day shopping and come back with 25 bags worth of crap. Because first of all, how do you afford that shit? Second, well, of course the answer is credit cards, but someone's still got to pay for that shit. Secondly, I cannot think of a single more painful thing to do than to go out with a whole bunch of you and blither around in a shop. Seriously, you might as well dress me in pink fluff. I'd rather wear a pink fluffy dress than go shopping. And that really does say a lot. I own 0 dresses. That's not true. My wedding dress is in a cupboard somewhere. That's it. It's the only one I've got. I don't do skirts, I don't do dresses, but I would rather wear a pink fluffy dress, which basically epitomes everything I hate in the world, because I am not a pink girl, I am not a fluffy girl, and I don't do dresses. So that's pretty much, I might as well make me wear some makeup with it for pleasure. I would still rather do that than go shopping. Food shopping I can do on the grounds of it's food, I like food, and I can eat some of it on my way home. But I still hate the actual shopping process. I just get to enjoy it quicker. And so, yeah, I'm a hermit, frankly, dude. Seriously, I am a hermit. I would rather be at home with my lovely dogs. Well, my dogs at least. And see, you are my people, right? You are my people. Naughty Cat, your tree looks great. I love your tree. I really like that. But yeah, there is nothing, there was nothing worse than sitting in the office and listening to 2 women blither on all day. Exactly. Because we all know that individual people can be really intelligent, but a crowd is stupid. And there is some scientific bollocks that backs this up, is that you could take 100 people with an IQ of like 160 plus, put them in a crowd, and they will do stupid things. And it's just, and shopping seems to bring it out in all of them. It's like driving. People aren't bad people. Well, some of them are, but most people aren't bad people. But some of them, the moment you have them in a car, they have the IQ of their shoe size, and that's their British shoe size, not even their European one. So for interest, my shoe size's 5.5, right? Some of them don't even have that as an IQ. The fact that they're breathing is a miracle. The moment they get behind the wheel of a car, the moment they go shopping, their shoe size is their IQ. They frankly are a danger to humanity. And, it's the people, I'll buy 68 loaves of bread because it's buy one, get one free, get 5 free. Are you going to eat them? Are you really going to eat that many loaves of bread before it goes off? Because in this country, loaves of bread seem to go off at the drop of a hat. If you buy one on Saturday, midweek, it will start going green, right? It's just a thing. If you make your own, it doesn't seem to happen. But if you buy a standard kind of Hovis loaf of bread, by Wednesday, it's starting to go. By next Saturday, that thing's got life forms. And so, unless you're planning on Breadfest, in which case, God help your toilet, what are you going to do with them all? I mean, you're not supposed to feed ducks bread, so you don't tell me you're going down the local duck pond with it. Yes, you can freeze it, but frozen bread's never the same. And so, but it's the same, when COVID hit and everyone bought, 500 million toilet rolls. Really? Was toilet roll your first concern? Because, well, I have a brain cell. Occasionally I lose my brain cells, but I usually have some brain cells. Let me see. If I ran out of toilet roll, well, but I still have things to do washing with, you can use, I won't say socks, but as an example, socks, and then wash them. Reusable. I mean, it's not ideal and all that, but if you had to, you can make do. If you didn't have anything better in your house, this is a thing. So toilet roll is not your first concern. I mean, even if you have dodgy guts and you know you're not, and potentially some of the food in your fridge is turning, as mine was the moment COVID hit. Thanks for that, COVID. You waited for the one time when basically all that was in my fridge were going off sausages. Thanks for that. Well, so I immediately stuck the going off sausages in the freezer so I could ration them in packs of 2. And so that I would only have to thaw out the ones that I were actually going to eat now. I think I've still got a pack of them in the bottom of the freezer, actually. But, you know, there are bigger things to be worrying about than toilet roll. But yeah, toilet roll. Buy pasta, buy dry food, buy tin food. I bought tin milk. In part because... well, it's not tin milk. It comes in a tub. But I don't buy milk anymore because I live alone and I either get through 4 pints in like a day, or I buy 4 pints, I make a cup of tea, and the next time I come to it, it's turned to cheese. Whereas powdered milk, now there are forms of powdered milk, and for those of you who've never paid any attention, there are things like Coffee Mate and Carnation and stuff. They are not powdered milk. Well, there's some powdered milk probably in it, but they are not powdered milk. True powdered milk does not have sugar in it. True powdered milk is not creamy. True powdered milk is just dehydrated milk. And for example, Tesco's in a red tub do basically powdered skimmed milk, and all that is in there is milk in powder form. So that if you want to make a cup of tea, you make a cup of tea, you get a teaspoon, you get some milk powder, you dunk it in your tea, you give it a hefty swizzle, and now you have milky tea. And it tastes like milk. If you want milk, you can add water to it, and it's milk, because it's milk. But of course, this stuff goes off really slowly because it's not in a form that goes off easily. So this stuff lasts for ages. And so you always have fresh milk because all you really need to do to it, add water. I love this stuff. It's great if you do the pasta and sauce things as well. So anyone who's eaten the UK pasta and sauce things by bachelors will tell you that do not ever put the amount of liquid in it that they tell you to, because it turns into rat wee, right? You put in, so I think they tell you to put 550 mils of water and 150 mils of milk in, and it's like, no. Put in a total of 500 mils of liquid. And then it will still be runny, but it will not be rat wee. And even then, some of them you probably want slightly under that. But of course, again, with the milk powder, it's easy. You measure out 500 ml of hot water, swizzle in a couple of spoonfuls to make up for the amount of milk, pour it in, it thinks, and it is exactly like you made it with milk. You wouldn't know. So it is a great advantage, but you have to pick the right stuff, because the wrong stuff, and it tastes funny. There's a blue one, and I can't think what the blue one is. Hang on. I'm sure that my Tesco app will tell me. Hang on. Stop telling me there's a new version, because the App Store don't have it, and so I can't go and get it. Hang on. Powdered milk. That says mill, but never mind. Milk. So, Tesco's instant dried skimmed milk is a thing of beauty. Marvel original dried skim milk, no. Now, I'm not quite sure what the difference truly is, but that's what it is. The Marvel one, they added 2 vitamins to it, so they dicked with it. It's not just milk. Whereas the Tesco's one, it just is literally, it says Just add water made from fresh milk. And it's exactly how it tastes. Once you've added water to it, it tastes like skimmed milk. If you add not quite enough water to it, it tastes more like whole milk. Because obviously whole milk is slightly richer than skimmed milk. But it is a thing of beauty. And of course, because it doesn't go off in a hurry, it does mean that if, for example, like me, I drink copious amounts of Diet Coke at the moment. If someone comes around and wants a cup of tea or coffee, well, you've got some milk. Because, well, you've got some milk. It's just not currently in milk format. So you add it to their drink, and now it is. There are definite advantages to things like that. But as you say, just the whole going out and interacting with stupid people, we don't need that in our lives. We really don't. And we need to normalise the fact that it is really not wrong to not want to be forced to be in amongst these people. The people who, you know, during COVID, who were all, I'm not going to get vaccinated and I'm not going to wear a mask. And I'm not saying that vaccinations saved the day, because I'm not sure I believe that. But at the same time, they were literally flaunting every rule of COVID. I mean, here in the UK, we had a time where you were not allowed to go visit other people. And if you lived alone, you were allowed to designate a bubble. But the number of people who had parties and looking at you neighbours, my neighbours here had a party. And there's no way it was just the people who normally live in the house. Well, they had a party. It was obviously someone's birthday and they had a party. My birthday was slap bang in part of the middle of the COVID shit. I didn't care. Good excuse not to see anyone do anything on your birthday. You know, they released, and of course, anyone here in the UK was not surprised when COVID numbers were going up in December and the government went, oh, well, it's Christmas. You can all go mingle over Christmas. It won't hurt. And then come January, the numbers went through the roof. Well, but people did. People mingled. My old neighbours did the COVID mingle thing. That's a thin pin. You're in the wrong pot. Anyway. Looks like a fat pin in there. I got some thin pins in my fat pin pot. Grab some. Anyway, yeah, my ex neighbours did the whole party and invited everyone and their dog round, and literally dogs came visiting as well, and then wondered why they had COVID, and you're like, you were told not to. No, I definitely would be one of those people that if I could live on a foreign island, as long as it's got decent internet connection, I really wouldn't care. Like I said on stream before, there's a huge part of me that would love to live in one of those old nuclear bunkers. You know, those massive things underground. Lots of space to put crap in and stockpile stuff. And, you know, basically, you know, once a month have Tesco's around or whatever, and kind of never come out. I don't mind being underground, wouldn't bother me in the slightest. I would have no problem with that. The dogs probably would. Be a bit more awkward for them to just go out for a pee, but you know, I'm sure we could do something. We could have the pee room for the dogs, you know. I'd be quite happy in the little nuclear bunker. As I said, come the zombie apocalypse, I'm alright. I don't need to interact with you lot. Well, it'd be nice to see you lot there, but you know what I mean. I don't need to interact with the world. I can stay and do my thing. I can make stuff, earn money, or swap it for food rather, and I'll live. I'll be alright. I think we need to normalise it a bit more that, you know, one of the best things last night was the fact that the weather was so shit that most people didn't bother letting off fireworks. It was great. New Year's Eve without half the country being blown up. It was marvellous. No one round here did. To the point, midnight came and went and I didn't even notice because, of course, I was expecting the usual fanfare and there wasn't one. Because, of course, the wind was so hard I'd had to shut the door because it had tried to blow the door off its hinges. And so there were no fireworks. It was great. The dogs didn't notice and we all went, it's 2025 now, let's go to bed. So we did. It wasn't that much after midnight, but, you know, it was just before midnight. I go, okay, I got a few minutes. So I was mooching on something. Next time I looked up, it was like 1:15 midnight. Oh, well, okay, here we go. Done, right. I was at least awake for the changing of the year, but to be honest, yeah, whatever. Which reminds me, when I go back to work, Jesus, I've got to go to work tomorrow. Pray for my soul. I have to go for work tomorrow. Oh, really? Is it tomorrow? Oh, I am real fucking depressed now. Got work tomorrow. Fuck. Better dig things out and start charging them up. I'll do that in a minute. Do that later. Gotta charge my work phone because I need my work phone to get into my work laptop. Otherwise I can't log into either of them. Because now I have 2 work laptops. Lucky me. Do I really have to work tomorrow? Oh, that's really put a dampener on today. Completely forgot that I've got to go to work tomorrow. For some reason, even though I didn't think it was Wednesday. It's the problem of having time off if you start forgetting what day of the week it is. Crap, I've got to go to work tomorrow. Oh no. In a bad mood now. The stupid part is I don't hate my job. I really don't. Like all things, there are good points and bad points. There are better things, there are worse things. But I don't hate my job. I don't hate most of the people that I interact with. There are a few specimens that, you know, should the world remove them, I would not have a problem with that. But I still don't exactly, you know, it's not my top 10 things to do each day. Started yawning now. Yeah, I can't truly explain it. It's like getting up in the morning. You're warm, you're comfortable in bed. You don't necessarily want to get out of bed because it's warm and comfortable in bed. Now, assuming you don't desperately need a pee, which of course most of the times you do, but let's pretend that you don't need a pee. It's not that you hate being out of bed, because there are nice things out of bed. But you're currently warm and comfortable, and the need for change is not a pressing need. It's more of that. It's I enjoy doing my own thing. I enjoy you know, to be honest, I've sat in front of a computer a lot of over my time off. So it's not even a case of I hate sitting in front of a computer or anything like that. No, I do that anyway. So I don't know. It's just, I think it's all the unwritten rules that go with work. All of the hidden meanings, the double standards, the sucking up to people who really don't deserve it. Not that I do, but you know what I mean. All these people who have got these overinflated opinions on their self-worth and their cleverness, and then do really dumb shit, and you're the one that's going to have to fix it. And I don't know. I just find work really stressful. Not because my work is specifically stressful, because it's really not. I'm not horrendously overworked. I'm not under horrendous pressure because I keep my stuff working. So I'm not the one on the phone call for why isn't this working, because it's not a me problem. If anything on any of my servers is not working, it's because, well, you fiddled with it and you should have left it alone. And it won't be a me thing because, well, you're not supposed to do any of that. So we do all of ours with change control. So as a result, then, it is that kind of thing. For me, it's the double standards. It's alright for so-and-so to be a complete arsehole, but if you so much as say, oh bother, in the office, someone's going to report you for being an arsehole or whatever, and I just don't need that in my life. But I have to say, I worked in an office where pre-COVID, everyone had been sent to HR for something. And of course, now we all work from home, no one's needed us to go to HR. This is because the people who had nothing better to do but snip and listen in on conversations and pick holes in it and then pretend to be offended by it, or that someone else might possibly be offended by the fact that this got said, but no one actually was, but that they heard it and so therefore someone else might be. Which I don't disagree. You know, there are some taboo subjects in the office and I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, if it's not your conversation and no one's actually offended by it, perhaps it's between two consenting adults. Ever considered that? And yeah, I mean, I'm not talking anything sexual, but I'm just talking in general. So yeah, I don't know. I do find that environment stressful because you can't be yourself. You have to pretend to be something at all given times. As a result, wears you down. So yeah, pretending to care about things and people that you don't necessarily like, and agree having to toe the company line in the way things are done when maybe you think it's one of the most stupid things they've ever done. You haven't done any of those recently, but you know the principle. All of those kind of things. It's the, oh well, it's policy that this and this. Yeah, it's a stupid one. You know, we haven't had any of that for a while, but it's that level of pretending, of having to, you know, enforce a rule that makes no sense whatsoever. It's the, you know, making up for having to do things that is expected of no one else because, well, they can't be bothered, and so therefore somehow it's your problem, and it just grinds you down quite a lot. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to work in the morning because if nothing else, I'm gonna get up. I've got to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning. Well, it's not that much of a stupid o'clock in the morning, but it's stupid enough part of the morning. It's part of the morning I'd rather still be in my bed. And that's all that matters. And of course now I've got the yawns. So I apologise most definitely for yawning at you, because this is rude of me. So with any luck, 2024, 2025 rather, will be a better year for everybody. We shall try and start it as we mean to keep going. In fact, what I'll do now is I'm going to take some pins out because we like doing that. There's a couple more I need to poke down, I think. Turn it round this way so I can vaguely remotely see what I'm pushing down this way now. That's all of the ones we want pushing now. So we can take out these ones back here. I heard that too. I heard that too. Or did someone feel miserable because they didn't get to set their fireworks off yesterday? So they're doing it today. That's what that sounded like. Either that or they've shot a few people, one or the other. you. Stupid dog. You my silly. There we go. Fat dog butts. Oh, move your fat dog butt over a little bit. Amy, there's no room for you. There really isn't. There really isn't. Thank you. Oh, we could join. The adverts are here, aren't they? Little miss. Oh, no. It's your best huggy, that is. Yes, your best huggy. Yes, it's your best huggy. She's not very good at huggies because by the time she climbs on your lap, she's forgotten what she was doing. Yeah. You're definitely an ADHD type dog. Ooh, a squirrel! And off she goes. And this is your best hug. When you lean in and you have a good hug. Yes. So I can't discourage you because I need to encourage you to feel you can have good hugs. Yes, you can. I just wish you'd sit still while you were doing it. Miss? I do. Oh, what a yawn. Smelly face. What have you been eating that you shouldn't? Your face smells that bad. And of course there's only one answer to that, isn't there? So I apologise that I'm not doing something, but there happens to be this little brown dog in my lap. That's about 20 kilos, somewhat blocking the view. Yes. That's a good girl. There you go. It's a good hug. Yes, it is. Proper hugs. Yes, proper hugs. Oh, what a yawn. Now, I'm going to have to encourage you to get off because, well, I want to finish this row, if nothing else. So, scooch you all round. The next one. That's right, there's a funkier bit looking just down there. Not quite sure what's funky about it, but I don't think it is funky. I think it just looks. Yeah, it's not funky. It just kind of. I think it's the bit of knot of the thread that makes it look funky. It's okay. We can cope with that. So, stickety stick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stick from my stick pile. Put these in it for now. Put them over there. So, this was not the longest stream, and I was hoping to do more, but I've got the yawns. I'm hungry at 6 o'clock. I don't feel it's unreasonable to be hungry by this point. So, it is time to taking a photo. Something along the lines of that should be good. Looks pretty neat and tidy. So, I shall bid you a good evening. I shall hope to see you all again shortly, like tomorrow. So yes, not my longest stream, but any stream that makes progress is still good things. We've done an extra layer of our triangle. As I said, probably would have liked to have done a bit more, but I'm getting hungry and I've realised I've got to go to work tomorrow, so I don't want to be up too late. So I don't want to be uploading this too late, and it's easy to get sidetracked once that occurs because, well, there's been quite a few times where this is not actually uploaded till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I don't need that in my life right now. And I'm trying, being the new year, I'm trying to, be a good girl. To say, not doing actual resolutions, but I do want to try and go to bed at a reasonable time, just because I've got to get up early for the first time in quite a while. So with that in mind, then we shall call it quits for today, and as I say, we shall be back tomorrow, assuming nothing disastrous happens at work. You see all my dangly bobbins waiting to go on. We've already done a load because we've done all the way down this side and part way across the bottom here. So we've done quite a few. We've got these ones to add and one more cloth stitch pair to go. But yes, it is that time of day where we move on to alternative things and we part our ways yet again. I shall see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.